During the chaos of World War II, when the world was engulfed in fire, there existed a secret American unit that fought not with guns, but with paint, speakers, and imagination. They were not ordinary soldiers. They were artists, designers, and sound engineers who created one of the greatest illusions in military history. Their mission: deceive the German army so convincingly that they would move, attack, and defend in the wrong places. This story remained classified for more than 40 years, hidden in military archives until the world discovered the incredible tale of the Ghost Army, the unit that outsmarted Hitler's war machine with creativity instead of bullets. In 1944, Europe was a battlefield of destruction. Nazi Germany's power was fading, but every inch of land still came at a terrible cost. The Allies had landed in Normandy, but victory was far from certain. As American forces pushed deeper into France, deception became as powerful as firepower. The U.S. Army needed a way to mislead German forces, to make them believe entire divisions were in places they weren't. Out of this desperate need was born one of the most unusual units in military history, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, better known as the Ghost Army. Their task was simple in words, but complex in execution: create fake armies that looked, sounded, and even felt real. The men recruited for this top-secret unit were not frontline fighters. They were painters, sculptors, stage designers, sound engineers, and radio experts. Many were graduates from art schools like Pratt, Cooper Union, and Yale. Among them were future legends: Ellsworth Kelly, who later became a world-famous artist, and Bill Blass, who became one of America's leading fashion designers. These creative minds traded their brushes for rifles, but their greatest weapon remained their imagination. They were trained at Camp Forest in Tennessee, where military officers taught them how to combine art and strategy. Every detail mattered: how to stage tanks that didn't exist, how to broadcast radio chatter that wasn't real, and how to simulate movement so that German reconnaissance planes would be fooled from the sky. Their tools were as strange as their mission. The Ghost Army used inflatable rubber tanks, dummy artillery, fake aircraft, and sound recordings of tanks, trucks, and troops. When they set up a decoy camp, it looked exactly like a real one, from the air, through binoculars, or even to enemy scouts nearby. They could set up hundreds of tanks overnight, tanks made of rubber, inflated by air pumps, and painted with perfect detail. They even left tracks in the mud to make them seem freshly arrived. Meanwhile, their sound engineers used powerful speakers, each weighing 500 pounds, to blast pre-recorded battle noises for miles. The recordings were so realistic that even American units nearby sometimes mistook them for real divisions. Radio operators played their part too, imitating the call signs and communication patterns of real American generals. This combination of visual, sound, and radio deception was an art form, a masterpiece of psychological warfare. Their mission wasn't without danger. The Ghost Army operated close to the front lines, often only a few miles from enemy troops. If discovered, they would be slaughtered. They had no heavy weapons, no backup. In the summer of 1944, they executed their first major operation in Normandy. They faked the presence of the 2nd Armored Division, setting up over 150 inflatable tanks and broadcasting troop noises day and night. German scouts, convinced the Americans were preparing a major assault, repositioned their forces, leaving the real divisions free to move elsewhere. It worked perfectly. Over the next months, the Ghost Army carried out over 20 deception operations, saving thousands of lives by diverting German troops away from real attacks. One of their most daring missions took place in September 1944 near Bettembourg, Luxembourg. The Germans were advancing, and the American 4th Armored Division needed time to regroup. The Ghost Army stepped in, setting up decoy tanks, fake artillery, and even painting realistic shadows on their rubber vehicles to mimic sunlight angles. Their sound crew blasted recordings of trucks rumbling and soldiers shouting. From a distance, it appeared that a massive force was preparing for battle. The deception bought precious hours for the 4th Armored Division to reposition, saving an entire flank from collapse. German intelligence reported heavy American presence, unaware they were watching an army made of air and imagination. Despite being non-combat troops, these artists showed tremendous bravery. They knew discovery meant certain death. In one instance, a young artist named Arthur Shilstone was sketching near a French village when German scouts appeared. He quickly flipped his sketchbook, pretending to be an ordinary civilian artist drawing trees. The Germans ignored him, and his unit's deception remained intact. Each man carried the burden of knowing that his illusion could determine the fate of thousands. In March 1945, the Ghost Army prepared for their most important mission, Operation Viersen, a deception to distract German forces from the real Allied crossing of the Rhine River. They created an entire fake army division, with over 600 inflatable tanks, hundreds of trucks, tents, and fake radio chatter. Even local civilians were fooled, believing they were seeing real American troops. The operation was a masterpiece. German forces fell for the illusion completely, concentrating their defenses in the wrong area. When the real crossing began elsewhere, it faced minimal resistance. This single operation may have saved tens of thousands of lives and accelerated the end of the war. When the war ended in 1945, the Ghost Army's story was buried in classified files. Its members returned to civilian life, carrying memories of a war they fought with art instead of ammunition. It wasn't until 1996 that their secret became public. Documents were declassified, revealing how 1 to 100 men, armed with nothing but creativity, had helped defeat one of the most powerful armies in history. In 2022, the U.S. Congress finally recognized the Ghost Army with the Congressional Gold Medal, honoring their service and innovation. The Ghost Army proved that creativity can be as powerful as firepower. Their story is not just about war. It's about the courage to think differently when the world demands conformity. In an age of destruction, they used art to save lives. They transformed imagination into a shield and deception into a weapon of hope. Even today, military deception tactics are influenced by their methods, from fake radar signals to digital camouflage. The spirit of the Ghost Army lives on wherever creativity meets strategy. When you look at the quiet faces of old black and white photographs, men painting fake shadows on rubber tanks, adjusting microphones in muddy fields, remember that they once fooled an empire. They didn't need bullets to win battles. They needed courage, paint, and belief in the impossible. The Ghost Army reminds us that history's greatest victories are not always fought with violence. Sometimes they are painted with imagination. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and explore more untold pieces of real history, where truth is often stranger than fiction.